In the golden age of Hollywood, image was everything. Studios spun elaborate tales, transforming ordinary people into glamorous movie stars with exotic backstories and dazzling stage names. But few stories are as surprising or as tragic as that of Dona Drake. She was born as Eunice Westmoreland, an African-American woman who passed as Latina for the sake of a career she felt she could never achieve otherwise. This is the remarkable story of the star who fooled Hollywood and what it cost her in the end. Eunice Westmoreland, who would later become known as Dona Drake, was born on November 15, 1914, in Florida. Some reports point to Jacksonville, others to Miami. This was a decade and a half before the Great Depression took hold. Yet even then, opportunities for African-American families in the Jim Crow South were painfully scarce. Eunice's parents, Joseph and Nola Westmoreland, were light-skinned African-Americans, and Eunice was one of 5 children. From an early age, her parents noticed she had an uncommon flair for music. Whether it was singing a melody, tapping out a rhythm, or learning new instruments, piano, saxophone, clarinet, and drums, Eunice displayed an innate gift that stood out, even in a family known for its musical leanings. When the Westmorelands relocated to Philadelphia in the early 1930s, they left behind the restrictive social climate of Florida, hoping to find new possibilities up north. Joseph took a job in a local restaurant, and one of Eunice's siblings ventured off to college. Meanwhile, Eunice pitched in at the family's workplace, sometimes entertaining patrons with an impromptu tune or two. This glimpse of a broader audience only deepened her desire to perform. Realizing her prospects for true stardom likely lay beyond Philadelphia, Eunice set her sights on New York City. In 1932, she moved there with her mother and a fellow performer named Renee Villon. The two formed a singing duo that landed steady work at the Paradise Club on Broadway, a bustling hub for vaudeville acts, jazz combos, and ambitious entertainers. It was there that Eunice's captivating presence caught the attention of influential showmen. Her ability to switch effortlessly between singing, dancing, and playing instruments proved she was more than just a pretty face. She was an emerging star whose potential extended far beyond a local stage. In the bustling nightlife of 1930s New York, the line between legitimate show business and the underworld was often thin. Eunice Westmoreland, by then calling herself Rita Rio, found herself at the center of that world, performing in clubs where she rubbed shoulders with socialites, other aspiring performers, and even mobsters. Critics of the time noted her compelling stage presence. Some praised her voice, others marveled at her ability to pick up an instrument mid-song and command a band's attention. Alongside her singing partner, Renee Villon, Eunice traveled throughout Manhattan's vibrant cabaret circuit, gradually building a reputation for versatility and showmanship. She caught the eye of notorious producer Earl Carroll, who was impressed with her confidence and ease on stage. It was during these formative years in New York that she realized her racial ambiguity could be an asset. Audiences saw only a beautiful, exotic performer with undeniable rhythm, not a young black woman fighting for any chance to perform outside of stereotypical roles. This environment was a training ground for more than just talent. It taught Eunice the value of reinvention. A new name, a new persona, and the right connections could pave the way to Hollywood, where she hoped to escape the limitations placed on black performers. Though the transition would take time, the foundation of her future stardom was firmly laid on these smoky nightclub stages.
People are talking, saying things about me.
The leap from the smoky nightclubs of New York to the bright lights of Hollywood was anything but straightforward for Eunice Westmoreland, who at the time was performing under the name Rita Rio. In search of broader acclaim and more lucrative opportunities, she decided to fully embrace a new identity upon her arrival in Los Angeles. The transition didn't happen overnight. Initially, she toyed with names like Rita Nola and Rita Shaw, each meant to add an exotic flair that would stand out in the crowded studios. It wasn't until she auditioned for a role at Paramount, reportedly at the suggestion of actress Dorothy Lamour, that she adopted the moniker Dona Drake. Paramount was eager to shape its latest find into a marketable star, and the studio's publicity machine got to work creating a vivid backstory. They announced to the press that Dona Drake was a Mexican actress with an intriguing blend of French and Irish heritage, a captivating Latin beauty who could sing, dance, and dazzle on screen. This was standard practice in an era when studios often invented histories for their newcomers. But Drake's case was more extreme. Not only did Paramount highlight her supposed international roots, they also ensured she was coached in Spanish so she could speak confidently in interviews if pressed about her background. In a world where authenticity took a backseat to image, Dona Drake's reinvention was seen as a career triumph. She landed small but noticeable roles in musicals and comedies, including appearances alongside Bob Hope and Bing Crosby. Fans gravitated to the idea of a Mexican Spitfire, while directors found her blend of comedic timing and musical versatility compelling. Yet behind every glamorous press release and staged photo, a deeper question lingered. How much longer could she maintain this elaborate facade, and at what personal cost? Behind the studio-produced tales of a fiery Latin star, the reality of Dona Drake's life was far more complex. Born an African-American woman in the segregated early 1900s, she knew firsthand the formidable barriers that Hollywood placed before performers of color, especially Black actresses. In those years, a talented woman with darker skin would almost certainly be relegated to roles as a maid, servant, or comedic sidekick. The laws of many states also prohibited interracial marriage, preventing Black actresses from portraying love interests to leading white men on screen, or from publicly entering such relationships in real life. Passing as Latina wasn't just a career move. It was a strategic measure of survival in a notoriously prejudiced industry. The relentless demand to maintain this false identity affected every aspect of Drake's existence. Public appearances, interviews, and even casual encounters with fans had to align with the official story. If she let her guard down for even a moment, the backlash could have destroyed both her livelihood and her personal life. In an environment where studios often viewed actors as commodities, her true background became a secret, guarded with more caution than any script or upcoming film project. Yet this constant performance took its toll on Dona Drake's mental and emotional well-being. Friends and colleagues sometimes noted the strain she seemed to carry, her anxious vigilance in maintaining her fabricated persona. She had to contend not only with the typical pressures of stardom, rigorous schedules, public scrutiny, and contractual obligations, but also with the fear that her carefully curated image could unravel at any moment. Even minor slip-ups could lead to scandal, undermining her career and jeopardizing everything she had worked so hard to achieve. In the end, what the public saw as a glamorous, exotic Hollywood star was a woman quietly grappling with the painful reality of living a lie. In 1944, while working on the modestly budgeted musical Hot Rhythm, Dona Drake crossed paths with a young costume designer named William Billy Travilla. At the time, Travilla was employed at Western Costume Company, showcasing his talents in a variety of Hollywood productions. Although he wasn't yet the household name who would eventually craft Marilyn Monroe's most iconic looks, his keen eye for detail and innovative style had already garnered attention among insiders. For Dona, who was juggling multiple film roles and a nightclub act, the meeting felt serendipitous, offering a spark of personal excitement in the midst of her professional hustle. Their connection escalated quickly, so quickly, in fact, that within just 10 days of their first date, they were married at Santa Monica City Hall. With Drake's studio-crafted Mexican persona and Travilla's rising profile, their union hinted at glamour, yet also carried hidden risks. Anti-miscegenation laws were still in effect in many parts of the country, and Dona's true heritage remained a secret even to close colleagues. Whether Travilla knew the full extent of that secret before the ceremony remains unclear, but the stakes were unavoidably high. In Hollywood's tightly controlled environment, the couple had to strike a delicate balance. Travilla's career was poised to blossom. He would go on to create legendary costumes for Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and The 7-Year Itch, catapulting him to fame. Meanwhile, Dona continued appearing in a series of film roles, her image still managed by the ever-watchful studio system. Despite the pressures, they welcomed a daughter, Nia, in 1951, forming a small family cocooned by their own circle of friends and collaborators. Despite her poise in front of cameras and her confident performances on stage, Dona Drake grappled with a range of health challenges that steadily eroded her sense of well-being. Chief among them was a mild form of epilepsy, an ailment she strove to conceal for fear it would sideline her budding career. In an industry that thrived on glamour, there was little room for perceived weakness, and the pressures of adhering to a meticulously orchestrated public image only compounded her anxiety. Alongside these physical issues, the emotional weight of living under a constructed identity took an immense toll on her psyche. Friends and colleagues observed periods of pronounced mood swings, which in hindsight could have been symptomatic of the stress she endured. Hollywood, with its notoriously grueling schedules and contractual restraints, offered limited support for someone privately battling both a medical condition and the psychological burden of racial passing. Every press interview, public appearance, and fan interaction required her to remain fully immersed in the role of the fiery Latin star. Her marriage to Billy Travilla, though initially a romantic whirlwind, added another layer of complexity. While the couple shared moments of genuine affection and camaraderie, her ongoing efforts to hide her African American heritage created tension and distance in their relationship. Travilla, with his rising career and bright prospects, may have wanted to protect his wife from industry prejudice, or conversely, may have unintentionally pressured her to maintain the facade for the sake of both their reputations. Yet behind the scenes, Dona's health issues and emotional struggles grew more pronounced. While they never formally divorced, the strain of her secret, combined with the demands of Hollywood life, would eventually lead the couple to live separate lives, bound forever by a shared history of ambition, secrecy, and fleeting moments of joy. Over time, her struggle to cope under these conditions became increasingly difficult to bear, planting the seeds of a tragic end that would unfold years later. By the mid-1950s, Dona Drake's star power had begun to dim, a reality she faced with a mixture of resignation and relief. Having played a succession of secondary roles, often portraying the exotic love interest or comedic foil, she found that the path to more substantial parts was still largely blocked by industry prejudice. Even with her elaborate cover story and years of dedication, the promise of major stardom in Hollywood never fully materialized. Yet the pressures of keeping her true identity hidden did not ease. In fact, as her opportunities dwindled, maintaining the facade felt increasingly hollow. Though she occasionally appeared on television or took on small film roles, the momentum she had once enjoyed was fading. Meanwhile, her personal life was marked by turbulence and unanswered questions. Separated from husband Billy Travilla, though never officially divorced, Dona struggled with bouts of depression, exacerbated by her epilepsy and the constant worry that her secret might be publicly exposed. She took extended breaks from the screen, hoping time away would help her heal emotionally and physically. But genuine peace remained elusive. In 1967, in a desperate effort to regain control of her life, Dona sent her young daughter to live with Travilla so she could focus on her health. Despite seeking medical help, her condition showed few signs of improvement, and she slowly withdrew from the spotlight altogether. By the late 1970s, her once vibrant public persona was a distant memory, replaced by a quieter existence, largely out of the public eye. In a poignant final gesture, Dona made one last public appearance at the 1986 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. It was a fleeting echo of her old glamour. 3 years later, on June 20th, 1989, she passed away from pneumonia and respiratory failure, leaving behind a legacy forever intertwined with the secret she fought to protect. Dona Drake's life story offers a poignant illustration of how Hollywood's glamorous surface often masks painful truths. Despite achieving a measure of success, appearing in films alongside icons like Bob Hope, John Wayne, and Claudette Colbert, she never escaped the impossible bind created by institutional racism. In an era when leading Black actresses were systematically overlooked or relegated to narrow stereotypical roles, passing as Latina felt like her only road to possibility. Yet this decision came at a steep personal cost. By constantly hiding her true background, Drake denied herself not only public acceptance, but also the chance to embrace her own identity fully. While many of her contemporaries also endured rigid studio contracts, image makeovers, and invasive personal scrutiny, her experience was uniquely fraught because it touched on race, a subject that remained a deeply uncomfortable topic in much of mid-century America. For every role that brought temporary acclaim, she had to redouble her efforts to maintain an elaborate fabrication. Today, Dona Drake's story resonates as a reminder of the cultural and systemic obstacles that once forced creative individuals to conceal who they truly were. Although progress has been made, leading to more diverse casting and authentic storytelling, her life underscores how far the industry has had to come. In looking back on her career and untimely passing, we recognize both her talent and her vulnerability. Her struggles shine light on an era that championed beauty and stardom, yet often punished those who didn't fit neatly into its racial or cultural expectations. Drake's legacy challenges us to question who truly benefits when an industry prizes image over authenticity. In the end, her life stands as a tribute to countless others who strove to find dignity, self-expression, and a place in the spotlight, even when they had to hide their very identity to do so. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Dona Drake's life and legacy. If you found this story enlightening, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with friends who love classic Hollywood tales. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into the captivating histories of cinema's most intriguing stars. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and remember that behind every spotlight, there's a story worth uncovering.